The transfer story of the summer is unfolding. Vincent Kompany bids farewell to Manchester City. Max Allegri agrees to leave Juventus. There's transfer rumours from around Europe, and of course, we look back on your Friday feels. That and more coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host, Matt Froelich. You are the One Footballers, and this is the Daily News. First up, and to Kylian Mbappe, who dropped a massive bombshell that he could potentially be leaving PSG at the end of the season. He said that the time has come that he wants more responsibility. Maybe it's in Paris or maybe it's somewhere else. Now, for a 20-year-old to be asking for more responsibility, well, that just shows you what kind of mature head he has on his shoulders. After all, he's pretty much won everything there is to win in football at such a young age. Now, when it comes to responsibility, does he actually want the captaincy, or does he want the burden of playing in a bigger, more competitive league? As for being responsible in League A, well, pretty much you can just stick around both on and off the pitch and still end up winning a title and a few cups along the way. Maybe he wants the responsibility of playing in front of the Real Madrid fans, who are notorious for booing absolutely everyone, no matter what they bring to the team. This, of course, has set absolutely every big team on red alert at the potential possibility of bringing the Frenchman into the club. However, of course, it will cost around 200 to 300 million euros, so they better get their checkbook out. If one guy's going to do it, it's going to be Real Madrid president Florentino Perez. But next up, to one player who will definitely be leaving his club, and it's Vincent Kompany. You would have heard him speak after the thrashing that Manchester City dished out to Watford in the FA Cup final on Saturday, and now he has finally decided to leave the club to become player manager of Anderlecht in Belgium. This is the club where he started his career, and he returns after 11 years at Manchester City, 8 of those spent as captain. He managed to win 4 Premier Leagues as well as a host of other trophies, and the crowning glory was that fantastic win over Watford in the FA Cup, as you mentioned on Saturday. However, now, of course, Pep Guardiola will be looking for a replacement, and it looks to be Harry Maguire. The Leicester City and England centre-back has been on the radar of rivals Manchester United for over a year now, but it looks that with Kompany leaving, Pep Guardiola wants a solid physical centre-back to fill in Kompany's presence, and that definitely is what Harry Maguire is. Then next up to Serie A, where Max Allegri has agreed to leave Juventus at the end of the season. With just one game remaining, the coach will be leaving after 5 years in what was apparently a joint decision. Now, at the end of last week, Max Allegri was told that he wouldn't be coached next season. However, he knew that things hadn't been going so well for quite a few weeks. It was reported that the owner, Andrea Agnelli, and Max Allegri had had conversations after Juventus were knocked out of the Champions League quarter-finals to Ajax about whether or not he would stay on as a coach next year. It was said that Allegri would stay on for next season. However, in the last few weeks, it's become apparent that there are more problems than he first thought, and he didn't want to stay on and then face these kind of problems on a bigger scale in October and November and risk ruining a whole season for Juventus. So instead of staying next season and potentially ruining something for Juventus, he has agreed to step down, and his last game will be next weekend. He did have a chance to say goodbye to the Juventus home crowd in their 1-1 draw against Atalanta, which actually saw them creep closer to earning a spot in the Champions League for next season. As for the replacement for Max Allegri, well, the bookies have been absolutely flying with all sorts of names. Didier Deschamps, a former legend, has been mentioned. Pochettino has been mentioned in there, although that'll probably have to wait until after the Champions League final, as well as former manager Antonio Conte. What will be next for Juventus and Allegri? Well, we'll have to wait and see in what is surely going to be an interesting summer for both. But now on to a roundup of the day's transfer news. First off, Arsenal are interested in Saint Etienne centre-back William Saliba. Tottenham have apparently moved into pole position to sign Lyon's Tanguy Ndombele. Yannick Carrasco wants to move back from the Chinese Super League to the Premier League. And lastly but not least, all these rumours that Zinedine Zidane said that even if they had a full substitution, he wouldn't have brought Gareth Bale on are absolute rubbish. He did just mention that any player that would have been brought on would have faced the same reception after their terrible 2-0 loss on the final day of the season to Real Betis. However, one thing is for certain, it does look clear that the Welshman is set to leave the Bernabeu this summer and that he is not in Zinedine Zidane's plan. But lastly but not least, we come to your Friday feels. This is where you guys left your prediction in Friday's Daily News, and well, we've got a few winners. First off is Patrick Matrix, who said that Bayer Leverkusen would beat Hertha and gain a Champions League spot for next season in the Bundesliga. They did with a fantastic 5-1 victory. Next up, and Zach Roderick Mark said that Manchester City would destroy Watford in the FA Cup final. I think 6-0 counts as a destruction. And lastly but not least, Alon Schwenke made 4 predictions, all of which were correct, so a massive shout out to you. Alon guessed that Bayern Munich would win the Bundesliga. They did with a fantastic victory over Frankfurt. Manchester City would win the FA Cup. Atalanta would take a point off Juventus and edge closer to UCL qualification. And Valencia would also qualify for the Champions League, and they did with a last day win. So there you have it, all of today's daily news. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. There's so much transfer news that is going to be happening. Do you think Kompany will be a successful player manager? And who will be the next man in charge of Juventus. Let me know all your thoughts down below. Smash the like button whilst you're down there and click here or here to check out all of the other videos that we've got going on OneFootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.